I'm Richard and you're watching episode 14 of the NAG Show. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. We were offline for a short while and it was completely my fault. I'm sorry guys, we were just running full steam ahead with so many things happening at NAG. Something had to fall by the wayside. But we're back on track, the team is growing, and you'll be seeing a lot more video content from us coming in the near future. Back to the show. In this week's episode, we check in with Marce from Asus about the new gaming console that they've announced. I'm rather excited about this one, and it looks likely that we'll get them in South Africa at launch. Then I chatted with Darranged about his Dead Island 2 review. Darryn is a freelance writer, cosplayer and video creator, so stay tuned to hear what he had to say later in the show. And finally, I checked in with Arielle about her Sony VR experiences so far. The popular accessory for the PS5 launched a few months ago, and I was curious to find out if the experience is still enjoyable or if the hype has worn off. How good is your video gaming knowledge? Think you know your stuff? See if you can answer these questions in this week's Quest for Knowledge. Question 1. What was the very first arcade game? Question 2. What was Nintendo's Mario originally called? And for a bonus point, in which game did he first appear? And question 3. What is the name of the main villain in the Zelda franchise? As always, the answers are at the end of the show, the very end, after the credits. The Steam Deck has been getting a lot of attention in recent months, even more so locally now that they're unofficially available in South Africa via a few retailers. Asus also recently announced a handheld gaming device called the ROG Ally, a gaming handheld that will actually be coming to South Africa through the official channels. To find out more about it, I spoke with Marce Bester from Asus to find out what we can expect from this exciting new product. So Marce, Asus has launched a couple of new products last week. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? And, can we game on it? That's all I want to know.
Okay, cool. So we launched one particular gaming product last week, and it's actually one of the most exciting that Asus and ROG has launched, at least in my gaming career. And it's an actual handheld console called the ROG Ally.
Yeah, now what I want to know is when is it coming to South Africa?
I can't actually tell you a specific availability. We still have to jump through a few hoops on that front, but we are planning early Q3.
Okay, nice. And I suppose also pricing has not quite been made available yet.
Yeah, so global pricing hasn't even been announced yet, so we're not able to let you know right now, but closer to launch I will definitely let you know. And we will be holding a local launch event where there will be a lot more information made available closer to the end of this quarter, so think like mid-June. Awesome.
Now, it's quite an interesting, it's not unexpected, but it's quite an interesting move for Asus to make in terms of going from peripherals into, or at least hardware, into kind of a fully fledged gaming device, an all-in-one unit. What is the thinking behind, who this audience is that you guys are catering for? Is it a PC gamer or is it somebody that's an in-betweener?
I think it'll be interesting to see where it lands in the market. Of course, we can predict and we can look at trends and stuff and say, yeah, this is where it's going to land and this is the audience. But I think you won't necessarily know until you launch it into the market. And it's interesting because we are a laptop brand and we have been playing with a lot of more portable offerings and big gaming specs inside smaller chassis. So I think it was just like a natural evolution to get to this point and make an actual portable machine that people can take wherever. And for me, it feels like a marriage between a portable laptop and a mobile phone, which ROG also obviously makes. It's somewhere in the middle there, which is interesting because we might attract the mobile gamers and we might attract the PC gamers. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the market reacts, especially South Africans.
Oh yeah. Look, I think the hunger is there. Worldwide, if you look at what the Nintendo Switch has done and kind of how popular that thing has been, and that's not even the best handheld console out there, right? Steam Deck's also doing quite well, from people that have it and from what I've seen online. So this seems like it's just going to be another place for gamers to really enjoy whatever game they want to play. It's just a more powerful gaming device, which I, for one, am very excited about. I think it could appeal to everybody, from, like you said, mobile gamers to high-end PC gamers that when they go away or when they're traveling, they have a proper device. Also, let's be honest, having a look at mobile phones, those things are also becoming so powerful. The gaming capabilities on them are pretty impressive. I guess the question that these things answer, or the real problem that these things address is the fact that you can run Windows-based games on there. Where with a mobile device, you're still locked to whatever the platform is.
Yeah, I think that's what makes this one very interesting. Sorry, I fell you.
No, go for it. Go for it. No, please continue.
That's what makes this product very interesting, is the fact that it's a Windows-based device, and you can actually load any launcher, any game that you own or want to own on there. So you're not locked to a platform or locked to a specific OS. That's an interesting one.
So, I mean, I was going to ask you about the phone as well. Mobile gaming phones, or at least specialized mobile gaming phones, have also made some waves around. How's it going for you guys with a very niche product in South Africa like that?
That's a hard one to answer, just because the mobile phone market in South Africa is actually so well established, and people have their favorite brands, and people tend to keep to that brand. So it's really hard to launch into this market in the mobile phone industry. Even though ROG is really well known globally and even locally as a mobile phone for gamers, it's still not an easy market to penetrate here. So we've found the launch was very successful in that we did bring in small amounts, and we did sell quite a few, and gamers are very keen, especially when it comes to the marketing side and social media side, to speak about it and to trade ideas about it. So we have generated a lot of hype around the ROG phone coming to South Africa. It's just really hard to get it into the mainstream markets, but that's not our strategy right now.
So, I mean, is it available yet? Can somebody buy it in South Africa right now?
So the ROG Phone 6 is available on our online store currently. I will I tell you the price. I can't remember right now by heart, but it is available in the country directly from Asus, and I will let you know if we have plans to bring the next generation in. Cool.
No, we'll definitely check that one out soon. Thank you so much for your time, Marce. I really appreciate it. We really can't wait to see this thing in our hands, this new gaming device. And I look forward to hearing more news about it in the near future.
Awesome. Thanks, Reha.
Dead Island 2 is a zombie slasher that's been making headlines in recent weeks. You can check out our full review on nag.co.za. But for this interview, I wanted to chat with Darranged about his thoughts on the game. He did a cool video review for it, which you can see on his YouTube channel. So Darryn, aka Darranged, I followed you on Twitter for a while, and I recently watched your Dead Island 2 review, and I liked your take on it. How are you doing, sir? And did you enjoy that game?
I'm locked and loaded for the long weekend, and yeah, I freaking love that game. I know I gave it a 75 out of 100, but it's a great 75 out of 100. It's kind of like a 9 out of 10 out of 7 out of 10s, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. No, I get you. Nice. So, I mean, we've had many zombie games over the years. What sets this one apart from anything you've played before?
It's got a number of good factors going for it. I mean, first of all, it looks fantastic. I mean, it's unbelievable to see something like this running on PS4 and Xbox One. Obviously on Xbox Series X and PS5 and PC, it looks amazing. It's gruesomely fantastic. And it's just a good time at the end of the world. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, what is not to like about smashing things and burning them and just, open world style. What do you think of the environment that you play in? How is the world that Dead Island 2 is set in?
I know with most zombie games, it's like the first thing that comes to mind is big open world, post-apocalyptic, and absolutely massive sandbox to explore. But Dead Island 2 does things a bit differently. It is a sandbox game, but with multiple smaller sandboxes, multiple biomes for you to explore, which keeps things concise, keeps things compact. And, as someone who's like kind of tired of like, go here, do that, collect this, climb this tower, it's actually fun to have a more focused sandbox to ply your gruesome trade in.
Okay, yeah. I've been recently getting back into my 2-year-old, or the last time I played was 2 years ago, Dying Light, because that is a fantastic zombie game too. But goodness, getting back into it is quite a feat to remember all the
daunting.
crafts and everything. It is big. So what kind of lifespan do you think Dead Island 2 has in terms of DLC, new things coming out, new content, replayability? Where do you put this on a scale?
I do think that they can add some new characters to play as. They could probably add a few new biomes to explore. I think that's one very easy way to just bolt on new content. But if this thing has a limited shelf life, if you're just going to play it for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, I'm not complaining. There's actually so much more value to be had with a good single-player game, or co-op in Dead Island 2's case. There's a lot of value to be had over, say, 20, 30 hours. You finish it up, you see the end credits roll, and that's it. It's done. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't need to be invested for 5 years of content like what Dying Light 2 is currently doing. I've only got so many hours through the day to dedicate to my games.
Yeah, no, it's crazy what we have accessible to us. But you also have other hobbies. You like to do some very cool cosplay, I must say. What is your next venture in that hobby?
Well, Comic-Con Cape Town is coming up this weekend, and on Saturday, I can't do it, Jay. I'm not physically capable, but I'll be popping some claws as the Wolverine for
Nice.
cosplay. I'll be joined by my friends Tracy and Noel. They'll also be doing some X-Men cosplay to join me, so it's going to be a great group effort. It's kind of my first convention in about 3 years since, the whole pandemic and Corona and all that. So I'm a little bit anxious about being around people, but, once you've got the mask on, once you've got the costume on, all that anxiety, all that nervousness, it just floats away.
Yeah, nice, man. Now, what other cosplay have you done in the past?
I did quite a few Batman cosplays. I've done Ghostbusters. This is actually going to be the 10th year since I did my first cosplay, which was Ghostbusters. So at the moment, I'm hoping for Comic-Con Africa in September to have a new Ghostbusters costume that puts my old one to shame.
Okay, nice. I look forward to seeing that. Well, where can people find you? You're Deranged Gold in most places. Where else
You can always find
you?
me as Deranged. Sometimes ED, sometimes EDD, like the best character from Ed, and Eddie. But you can find me on a variety of places. I sometimes pop up on VGC, sometimes on the PlayStation website, but most of the time on the GameSpot website if you want to read my content.
Nice. What kind of stuff do you do? Reviews, columns, opinions, news?
You name it, I'll do it. I do news, I do features, I do listicles, I do reviews, I do previews. It's all there. I'm all capable of doing it.
Nice. Everybody go check that out. Deranged, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And keep up the good work. We'll check in again. When there's something that piques our interest, we'll be in touch.
Awesome. Stay excellent.
Arielle has been playing with the Sony VR headset for a couple of weeks now, and I was curious to find out how the hype around Sony's hottest new accessory for the PlayStation 5 was holding up. Arielle, you've been playing with the Sony PS5 VR and been jamming a whole bunch of games as well. How's the experience been so far? It's been, a month now?
It's truly amazing. So I was thinking long and hard when I knew we were going to bring this up in conversation, like how to explain it to people. So I think the best way to explain this headset is, sure, it's great saying, a gamer will enjoy it. A gamer can put on their headset and have a wonderful time. But I think a real testament to it was when I put the headset on my mom, and I put my mom in Horizon, which if anybody has the PSVR2, they'll know Horizon is a full-on game. You have to use all the buttons that you possibly can of a controller. There's 100 things to remember, 100 things to do. And yet, my mom was in the game for so long, I had to be like, take a break and sit down. And my mom was physically fighting me. I was like, no, time is up. You have been standing playing this game for 3 hours. Like, enough is enough. Just sit down, have something to drink and breathe. And my mom loved it. My mom, ever since then, has been whining that my dad purchased her one. It's great.
Oh, wow. So she's also got one now. Interesting. Yeah. Now it's becoming a family thing. So what sets this apart from any other VR that's come before it? I mean, we've all played with the Oculuses and the HTC Vives. And, I mean, what makes this different, essentially?
For me, ease of use. So I spent a considerable amount of hours in the first PSVR. I've tried the Vive. You name it, I've tried it. ease of use is honestly the thing that sets us apart. The cameras are built into the actual headset, so there's no need to stand in front of your TV or your PC, whatever the case may be, trying to set up some or other external camera source, which is just amazing. You can put on the headset, you're good to go. The tracking in it is phenomenal. It doesn't use the light tracking that the first PSVR used. So that is already wonderful. Like if you turn around and you're no longer facing the screen, which anybody who's played VR knows happens, it's not a crisis. You're still playing the game. It still picks up perfectly.
And in terms of the titles, I mean, what do they range in pricing, and how broad is the library of games available to the PS5 VR now, VR2?
So as with anything of Sony, I'm not going to lie, it's expensive, right? It's just comes part and parcel with Sony. Like your games are pricey. You do get the lower end games, which I would say the cheapest you're looking at about 500, and the most expensive you're looking at is about 1,700.
Okay.
With most of the games being in that 1,000 to 1,700 rand range. The variety of titles is great. I mean, there are a load of smaller indie titles, which I wouldn't really call games. They're more like experiences, to actual hardcore games. I mean, to bring it up again, Horizon, Star Wars, even Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil Village is wild. There is so much to do. Like, even as somebody who plays games daily, it's overwhelming the amount of things to do. They're actual physical meaty games.
So, I mean, are a lot of these games replayable, and are they just ports from PC, or are they actually, most of them, dedicated to proper build for VR from the ground up?
So every single game that's currently available now is built from the ground up. There was no pure port. That is because the PSVR2's headset uses different hardware. So it has the eye tracking and, like I said, has the built-in cameras, all of that. They're pretty damn great. So Resident Evil Village, just to use as an example, I played the whole original game. The VR title is just as meaty and just as long as the original, but it's been completely redesigned. Nice. Simple things, using your torch. You have to use your hand to open up your coat, to look down into your pocket, to take your torch out of a pocket, and then use your other hand to switch it on. There's so many layers. It utilizes the VR beautifully. Like, it's great. I know Switchback VR, which is a arcade style retro shooter. A big factor in that game is it utilizes the eye tracking. So every time you blink, the enemies come closer to you. Ooh. So there's this fun little mini game where you have to play to be like, keep your eyes open, don't blink.
Don't blink. And that's it for episode 14 of the NAG Show. As always, if you'd like to be a part of the show and give us a review on a game or gaming hardware you think you've earned the right to talk about, then drop us a comment below or email us at hey@nagshow.co.za and you could be invited on. You can also send us a voice note or video comment to our WhatsApp number and you could be featured in an upcoming show. Until the next show, don't forget to check out all our channels across YouTube, Facebook and Game Explorers, a channel on the Ayorba app. We have a family of over 220,000 viewers, so come and join the fun. Until the next time, NAG out.